Hi guys, अस्सलाम वालेकुम. Welcome back to another episode of Happy Chirp. आज मेरे साथ हैं Usra Murtaza. Hi.
Hi.
Usra has been on the podcast before. She was actually part of the team. She's actually the person behind the podcast because she's the one who set it up with me in the first place. She was my first ever team member, the first person I hired as such, and a lot of things, a lot of little facts, like she helped me build this office, this studio, the thought behind all of this. She was my right hand for a very long time. Then she left me. No, I'm just joking. Then obviously she had to like move on, and she's been on the podcast before as well. But ever since then, obviously a lot has changed, and a lot of growing up has happened on both ends. But obviously today Usra is our guest, so we will be getting into her journey ever since then and all of her learnings. Usra, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for coming. Thank you for taking out the time.
Thank you for having me. I haven't done this in a long time.
Yes, but I know that you're very, very busy now. Yeah. So it means a lot to me that you came here. I miss talking to you. क्योंकि एक तो वो वैसे भी podcast में भी one-on-one भी हुई, और Dear Sister में हम इतना इकट्ठे बैठते थे, and we used to talk together. तो मज़ा आता था.
In general भी, like जब काम नहीं भी हो रहा होता था, कोई discussion हो रही होती थी, तो कुछ ना कुछ हो रहा होता था.
Yeah, we've had some really healthy conversations, a lot of brain stimulating conversations. तो मज़ा आता था, and I honestly miss that.
I miss that too.
Yeah, and I think it's not always easy to find people to have all kinds of conversations with.
Yeah, बहुत कम लोग होते हैं जिनके साथ like it's instant and it's you do not have to explain extra कि मैं ये सोच किस एंगल से रहा हूँ.
Right.
Like you're just having a conversation, you're very comfortable with like जो भी आप कह सकते हो, किसी तरीके से भी आपके जहन में कोई भी थॉट आ रहा हो और आप बस कहते जा रहे हो, एंड अगला बंदा उसको समझ रहा है, like काउंटर भी कर रहा है किस तरीके से हो रहा है. You don't find that bond very easily.
Yeah, and it's not forced.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very natural. Yeah. So Usra, ever since first I want you to talk a little bit about, because I know that when you first came to me and you told me that you want to leave, and the reasons that you gave for that, they were very valid. They came from somebody who has a growth mindset, who's not afraid to take risks, and that's very rare, right? People tend to like stay in their comfort zones. But when you came to me, the reasons that you gave and the reason that you left, can you talk a bit about that? Why did you leave 189 Media?
अच्छा, so when I decided to leave 189 Media, उस time पे I was having like मेरा PCOS वाली चीज़ भी हुई थी, and then it has been going on for like 3 to 4 months, and I didn't had the best of like
you weren't feeling well.
I wasn't feeling well. I think we have done a podcast on it as well. And I wasn't feeling well mentally mostly, like the medicines didn't suit me, और मैं बहुत ज़्यादा self doubt में चली गई थी, और बहुत ज़्यादा like जहाँ पे आप हर चीज़ को question करने लग जाते हो कि maybe I don't know how to do things, like why am I existing वाली situation हो जाती है जो.
And I think वो PCOS में because hormonal up and down इतना होता है कि it affects your mood and self worth वगैरह, self esteem वगैरह बहुत हो जाती है.
तो वो ही रहा था, एंड देन उसमें इस तरह से हो गया था कि इवन दो आई वाज़न्ट फीलिंग लाइक दी बेस्ट और कुछ भी, बट बिकॉज मैं इतना ज़्यादा काम में कंफर्टेबल हो चुकी हुई थी कि मैं अगर ध्यान नहीं भी दे रही ना तो काम हो रहा है, लाइक वो आपको एक आपके जहन में वो बैठ जाता है कि ये दबाओगे वो दबाओगे, जैसे आप कहीं रहना शुरू हो जाते हैं आपको बिल्कुल याद हो जाता है, लाइक इन अ वे लाइक रोबोटिक हो जाते हो आपके. अगर आपका ज़्यादा जहन नहीं भी यूज़ हो रहा लेकिन आपका काम हो जा रहा है, which wasn't working for me. Like I'm not that kind of person who will just get up and get things done and then go back and I love my work. Like I need to feel that I am doing something, और वो मुझे जिस तरीके से excitement होती है, thrill मिलता है उससे. तो ये दोनों चीज़ें आपस में they weren't sitting well with me. So I decided कि maybe it's time कि मैं थोड़ा सा challenge कर लूँ खुद को दोबारा से. If I can do it once, I can do it twice. Like it's not something that I just got lucky with. Like there must be something in me जिसकी वजह से मैं एक दफ़ा इतनी आगे आई हूँ तो मैं दोबारा से चली जाऊँगी. And then हम ना again I know मेरी ना ज़िंदगी ऐसी रही है कि आई हैव बीन वेरी प्रोटेक्टेड माशाल्लाह अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह से. एंड इट्स नॉट लाइक आई एम कंप्लेनिंग अबाउट इट. लाइक थिंग्स हैव बीन वेरी ईजी फॉर मी. लाइक ऐसे एज एन ईजी नहीं कि बहुत बस हो गया लाइक ये वो. मतलब आई वर्क फॉर समथिंग एंड देन वो हो गया. पर लाइक मेरी फैमिली मेरे फ्रेंड्स वाइज लाइक आई हैड अ वेरी अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह वेरी अंडरस्टैंडिंग सर्कल. बट व्हेन वी वर वर्किंग ना तो मेरी कुछ इंटरेक्शंस कुछ ऐसे लोगों से होती थी जो कि मुझे दिखाते थे कि ओके देयर इज अनदर वर्ल्ड आउट देयर. लाइक अ वर्ल्ड दैट इज नॉट सो प्रिटी, अ वर्ल्ड दैट इज नॉट
लाइक व्हेन यू वुड for example do
a client facing thing, like
okay, so when you would have like client meetings or something, so you would be like okay, outside of this environment maybe there's
like things are different, things are not so like very easy to get, or people don't get it very easily. Like you have to go extra with them to make them understand कि क्या हो रहा है क्या नहीं हो रहा. And I felt like that I have no training for that. जिंदगी में मुझे ये नहीं सिखाया. Like I've had like बाकी सब, लेकिन ये मुझे नहीं आता. So I felt like maybe for some time let's go out and see कि वो किस तरह से. अब it sounds very stupidish sometime कि like why would someone would do it, like why would someone want to play on hard level.
Like when you are comfortable, when you are sort of have the kind of culture that is soft in a way, then why would you want to leave and go in a place that with hard mode.
Exactly. But मेरी ना हमेशा से like I decided to work because of my mother, like because my mother pushed me so much that you have to be an independent person.
Okay.
Right? So और वो हमेशा से उनके पीछे एक थॉट ही होती थी कि अभी ज़रूरत नहीं है बट चीज़ें कभी भी आपके हाथ में नहीं रहती. सो गॉड फॉरबिड कोई टाइम ऐसा आए जब आपको बाहर निकलना पड़े और आपको कुछ करना पड़े, चीज़ें आपके like कोई फाइनेंशियल प्रॉब्लम्स हो जाएं, किसी तरीके से भी हो जाए, तो यू नीड टू बी एबल टू like सपोर्ट योर सेल्फ और योर फैमिली एट दैट टाइम. सो वो एक थॉट बैक ऑफ द माइंड थी कि लाइफ कैन थ्रो एनीथिंग एट मी एट एनी पॉइंट.
एंड यू फेल्ट लाइक यू वर नॉट like even after working here you're not ready to face like hard challenges.
Because in a way we did get lucky with the people here, like we found the right kind of people.
I think I think because हमारा ये था कि we focused a lot on, because it was a small team, it was a startup, so like people were very handpicked, very chosen. And it wasn't just based on like professionalism or just skills. It was also like do you fit into our culture, like because हमारा एक बड़ा strict वो था to maintain certain वो so वो कभी इस तरह के अगर लोग भी आए तो वो खुद ही fizzle out भी हो गए because they couldn't fit in
like
to
वो बहुत naturally होता था. जो लोग
कोई चलाकियाँ नहीं, कोई dishonesty नहीं, कोई politics नहीं. It was very kind of safe.
Like always rooting for others' success as well, right? We're like in a way proper team kind.
Very team,
कि अच्छा ये होना चाहिए, वो होना चाहिए, you should do it. Like we always had this culture कि it's not about like कि हम मिल के एक प्लेटफॉर्म के लिए क्या कर रहे हैं. इट शुड बी अबाउट कि आप अपने लिए भी क्या कर रहे हो. लाइक यू नीड टू वर्क ऑन योर सेल्फ, योर ओन ब्रांड, राइट. तो बहुत एक तरीके से वी डिड गेट लकी अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह इन दैट. सो जब वो क्लाइंट फेसिंग चीज़ें हों और वो रहा, और देन आई वॉज ऑलरेडी नॉट फीलिंग द बेस्ट ऑफ माई सेल्फ. आई फेल्ट लाइक आई नीडेड टू गो आउट एंड डू इट अगैन. मे बी आई फेल एंड आई रियली डिड नॉट वांट टू फेल, लाइक बिकॉज इफ आई डिड इट विल बी लाइक कि मे बी आई जस्ट गॉट लकी द फर्स्ट टाइम. एंड वो आपके साथ कर देती हैं, लाइक व्हेन यू नॉट फीलिंग द बेस्ट, लाइक योर माइंड कैन प्ले ट्रिक्स ऑन यू. सो उस वजह से आई डिसाइडेड कि let's take a break, not in a break, like let's take a break from what's like my comfort zone is, and then go out and see how the world is actually.
That's very interesting because see growth सिर्फ like एक एरिया में नहीं होती इंसान की. So you could be working, so for example if you were working at 189 media and you felt okay आपकी professional growth होती रही है और काफ़ी हो चुकी है. But it's not just about how many, professional skills you've learned how to, have meetings, learned how to lock clients, learned how to lock projects, learned how to manage people, but it's also other softer skills जो कि बहुत ज़रूरी होते हैं. एंड वो हम सबके साथ यही होता है कि एक पॉइंट पे व्हेन यू स्टार्ट actually having meetings outside of your current workplace and you realize what kind of professionalism that requires. तो वो तो एक हद तक you can learn by continuously having client meetings and everything, but being on that side where there's the culture is different. Hard mode will obviously teach you so many other kind of new things. But generally, like, I feel, a lot of people, when they start working as well, the first time they ever experience, or have their first experience with a workplace, a lot of times it's harsh or it's difficult or it's cutthroat. And I just feel like कि first experience कभी का किसी का इस तरह का नहीं होना चाहिए, because it can really destroy your relationship with
work in general.
Yes. Because it will create a very sort of negative mindset of yours.
Yeah, and then you will always do in a very robotic way.
Yeah.
You will never be attached to your work.
Yeah. So then you wanted to play in hard mode.
Yeah.
Right.
Then I played hard mode.
And you played hard mode?
Yeah.
And I think it's not even about generally कि अच्छा इस किसी जगह का culture क्या है, but like obviously out there we were just a small team.
Yeah.
जहाँ पर भी bigger teams होती हैं, things are more complicated. जहाँ पर भी काम जो है वो बहुत ज़्यादा departments होते हैं और different तरह का होता है, so I guess that makes a difference, right? So how was that then? How was hard mode? How was shifting to a new workplace for you?
Hard mode is hard, like, and oftentimes it will make you question that why did you decide, like, why did you want to challenge yourself like this,
I know
right?
the feeling.
So, but at the end of the day, if you have clear intentions, like, why am I here, what I'm supposed to learn here, then it will keep you on your path, and then you will learn the maximum that you are there to get out of it. So when I shifted to hard mode, Hamna, it was really hard. Like, it was really hard. It's not in just the sense ke culture wise, it's more like ke corporate या फिर businesses जो कि जिनके बहुत सारे employees होते हैं, बहुत सारे products होते हैं. There's a lot of history to catch on to. And at the same time, there's a lot happening. Like, जब हम ये काम कर रहे थे, even though there was a lot happening here as well, but because we started everything together, so no matter हम कौन से stage पे हैं, we knew everything.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that there's a difference as well. So for somebody who comes now maybe into 189 media, it's still different.
Yeah.
But you were the second person here. मतलब दोनों इकट्ठे हायर हुए थे. So first you were, and you built everything with us from scratch. So it's obviously then it's ease and comfort because top to bottom everything. You're like at the top of the food chain.
Yeah.
But in anywhere else, just like you were then integrated into a new workplace. So that's a very valid point.
Like, वो थोड़ा मुश्किल हो जाता है because there's a lot to catch up on, and then people will be talking around you and referencing to something like, like for example, the product roadmap.
Yeah.
And you're not part of it, like, and you have a lot of reading to do, like, कैसे, कहाँ से, किस तरीके से हुआ. And then जो अभी जिस तरीके से, like, we used to do like content side only, like, but when it comes, hardcore tech, then there is another language involved in it, which you are not familiar with, right? And you have to catch up on it as well. Then, in corporate और बहुत different तरीके से चीज़ें हो रही होती हैं, like, which works for some, which doesn't work for some, like, some people like that routine जो उनको बिल्कुल वो कर रही है, like, these are the hours, you have to do this, you have to do that, और वो बिल्कुल एक ये कह लें कि एक अलग set of protocol से आ रही होती हैं जो चीज़ें. And then for some people they like to have their flexible timings, and like, जो कि अभी भी I feel like corporate में जो एक आ रहा है विद द न्यू जनरेशन कमिंग इन, वो जो कॉर्पोरेट के जिस तरीके से SOPs बने हुए थे, लाइक टू बाउंड समवन बाय द टाइम, और वो दैट्स गोना क्लैश बिकॉज अब आप किसी के फोकस आवर्स, आप किसी के फोकस प्रोडक्टिविटी को टाइम के साथ नहीं कर सकते, लाइक यू हैव टू गिव देम टाइम और वो सारी चीज़ें. बट दैट्स अ सेपरेट डिस्कशन, लाइक वो किस तरीके से है. बट लर्निंग वाइज आई वुड से, लाइक ये इसी तरीके से है कि कॉर्पोरेट में जो मैंने 1 साल में सीख लिया है, it's all also equal to what I've learned, like, you know, in 3 years of working, like,
yeah,
you know,
so it's a very fast growth.
yes, it's
accelerated
a very,
growth.
because tech startups जो है ना वो बहुत fast pace से चल रहे होते हैं, right? There's a lot happening, like, you know, because उन्होंने there's investor side, so, you know, you have to show results, like, you know, so you have to build the best product, like, you know, clients को help मिल रही हो, फिर सब कुछ चल रहा होता है. Even though like with Inspire Me, like मैं ना हमेशा Inspire Me के साथ उसको करती थी, क्योंकि Inspire Me में I have seen those department, like, you know, not in a way like कि बहुत department wise बड़े बने हुए, but they were departments, like, you know, there's going to be logistics, there's going to be like, you know, product कैसे होगा, product तैयार हो रहा है तो planner वैसे हमारा बन रहा है, like, you know, then it goes to production, then, you know, उसका आता है, then we used to plan marketing for it, right? So that was the right comparison to draw for me, like, you know, कि product है, but एक जो था वो physical product था, एक tech product है, so वो उधर changes आ जाएंगी. So वो था. एंड देन ऑन द सेम हैंड वो जिस तरह से होता है ना कि आपको कहा जाता है कि यूनिवर्सिटी का एक्सपीरियंस बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है, बिकॉज यू मीट सो मेनी डिफरेंट पीपल फ्रॉम वेरी डिफरेंट बैकग्राउंड, फ्रॉम डिफरेंट सोशियो इकोनॉमिक क्लासेस, राइट? सो यू मस्ट हैव इट. सो कॉर्पोरेट भी ऐसे ही होती है, बिकॉज बहुत सारे लोग होते हैं, तो आप बहुत सारे लोगों के साथ कभी भी नहीं जाओगे, लाइक, यू नो, यू वोंट फाइंड दैट रिदम विद ऑल ऑफ देम, राइट? यू नीड टू स्पेंड टाइम एंड सी कि कौन आपके वेवलेंथ पे आ रहा है, नहीं आ रहा, किन के साथ बैठ के, लाइक, यू नो, you can have the conversations, किन के साथ like you can only have work relationships, and then किन के साथ you cannot have any sort of relationships, like, you know, because people are like हर तरह के लोग होते हैं वहाँ पे, तो एक वो learning बहुत ज़्यादा थी, like, you know, again, like, यहाँ पे जैसे भी वो जिस तरीके से हम बात कर रहे थे कि naturally ऐसा होता था कि we would find those people, like, you know, and those who won't fit in won't stay for a long time, like, उनको भी नहीं मज़ा आता था, they would just naturally go and do something else.
Because I think the difference here is कि in small workplaces it's a team mentality. Yeah. So वो culture ही team mentality वाला होता है, so, you know. Yeah. But bigger workplaces में obviously that's different.
Because bigger workplaces में हमने एक चीज़ मैंने ये देखी है कि लोगों की motivational factor ही बहुत different है.
Okay.
And it's how the way it is, like, and I know for some people it might work and for some people it doesn't, like, again, जिन लोगों की बहुत clear वो होती है कि, like, you know, work is not their life, like, you know, they will just go in, switch on किया mode, काम किया, switch off किया, चले गए, right? And for them the money factor is the motivation, like, motivation के, like, you know, कि हम यहाँ पे आ रहे हैं. And then a lot of people I saw कि बहुत सारे लोग जो हैं वो out of, like, you know, their फाइनेंशियल सिचुएशन काम के लिए निकलते हैं, तो फिर उनकी बहुत अलग सी होती हैं, लाइक, यू नो, दे वुड गेट डीमोटिवेटेड इफ द कंपनी इज नॉट प्रोवाइडिंग देम इनफ बेनिफिट्स, लाइक, यू नो, सो अ लॉट ऑफ, यू वुड से, life experiences happening inside just one building, like, you know, you would see lots of different people, lots of, like, you know, जो कि आपने कभी नहीं देखा होगा उस तरीके से कि लोग किस तरीके से काम के लिए आ रहे हैं, काम में और भी कौन कौन सी मोटिवेशंस होती हैं, लोग किस तरीके से, लाइक, यू नो, किया जाता है. एंड देन बिकॉज आई एम मोस्टली, लाइक, यू नो, इन मार्केटिंग डिपार्टमेंट, तो मेरा बहुत ज़्यादा ह्यूमन रिसोर्सेज के साथ, लाइक, यू नो, इंटरनल मार्केटिंग के ऊपर काम हो रहा होता है, तो उसमें लोगों को किस तरीके से मोटिवेट करना है, क्या प्रोग्राम्स किए जा सकते हैं, तो उस पर हम काम कर रहे होते हैं. तो it gives you a lot of, like, you know, sense of how the real world is, like, you know, how different people are and how you have to cater everyone differently, like, you know, you cannot have, like, one rule defined, like, you know, set for all. Not everybody is motivated by same things. Artists, like, you know, they are वो आप कह लें कि वो साथ होते हैं because of the art, because they all believe in that art वाला factor, right? In bigger companies, not everybody is there for the work, like, you know, product, like, for them, like, you know, वो किसी और तरीके से growth देख रहे होते हैं और वो बहुत अलग चीज़ें होती हैं. So it was hard, it was really hard, but I would say कि it was a much needed experience in a way. कि एक तो वो हार्ड हो गया, बट एट द सेम टाइम आहिस्ता आहिस्ता करके, लाइक, बिजनेस लैंग्वेज, टेक लैंग्वेज, प्रोसेसेस, लाइक, यू नो, हाउ अ टेक स्टार्टअप वर्क्स, उसके में एक नया प्रोडक्ट इंट्रोड्यूस होता है तो उसका पूरा रोड मैप कैसे बनता है, राइट? उसमें आपने किस किस तरीके से उसको आप मार्केट कर सकते हो, उसमें कौन कौन से डिपार्टमेंट्स इन्वॉल्व होते हैं, इंटर डिपार्टमेंटली काम कैसे करना होता है, बिकॉज अ लॉट ऑफ द टाइम आप काम करना चाह रहे होते हो, अगला बंदा अवेलेबल नहीं होता, तो आपका काम डिले हो रहा होता है. स्मॉल टीम्स में आपके काम जल्दी जल्दी होते हैं क्योंकि सारे एक साथ बैठे हुए हैं, सबका एजेंडा सेम है, राइट? सबके गोल्स सेम है. हर बड़ी कंपनीज में सबके गोल्स अलग अलग बने हुए होते हैं, लाइक यू नो देयर वर्किंग,
और सबकी प्रायोरिटीज अलग अलग होती हैं,
सबकी प्रायोरिटीज अलग अलग होती हैं, एंड देन यू हैव टू गो आफ्टर लाइक यू नो book their calendars and then you know sort of sit with them and then figure out. It's fun in its own way, like and for some people it works like you know great, like you know they're very happy in such environment. But yeah, it was really hard, like the transition was very hard, and then you know oftentimes I would say कि युसरा ये तुमने खुद के साथ खुद ही किया, अब भुगतो तो like you know अब करो, and then I gave myself some targets, you know ये सीखना है, and you know उन टारगेट्स की बेसिस में ना आई रियलाइज वन थिंग हम ना कि इफ समबडी लाइक यू नो इफ whoever is watching this, like you know अगर उन्होंने कॉर्पोरेट ट्राई करना है ना, they should try corporate for once in their life, so they would know why it works for them and why it doesn't work for them. Like you know there is like एक जाने से पहले भी एक नोशन होता है कि जाएं ना जाएं, because a lot of people had you know shared their experiences, like तो वो होता है कि अच्छा नहीं जाते because it might not suit us, but it might work for them, like you know but अगर आप कॉर्पोरेट ट्राई करना चाहते हैं ना, बी वेरी क्लियर ऑफ योर गोल्स.
ओके,
लाइक यू नो कॉर्पोरेट इज नॉट द प्लेस यू गो इन एंड बी लाइक आई विल फिगर इट आउट.
Okay.
Because the time you are spending in figuring it out, in that fast-paced environment, somebody has already figured it out and they're gonna be ahead of you. So just be very sure of why you want to go there, like you know, because some people would want to go like because they want to jump on like different seniority के levels होते हैं. They would want to be like product owners. They would want to be like you know get more benefits. जो भी है आपका जो भी reason है सब valid है, but just be sure of it, like कि मैं इस वजह से जा रहा हूँ. Because वो environment ऐसा है कि you would see a lot of the individuals around you be very sure of what they want to do and they will be doing in a very fast way, and then you will be left questioning कि यार मतलब how to match that pace. Or do I really want to match that pace?
Right.
So ये चीज़ मैंने एक बहुत सीखी है कि like you know you need to be very sure of what you want to do, and you need to be very secure of yourself as well.
Yeah.
Because इतना सब कुछ हो रहा होता है in corporate world that it's very easy to lose sense of who you are. Like you know, and then really get caught up in like you know that ladder fight, which is true because वो environment ही ऐसा है जहाँ पे everybody needs to focus on just themselves.
Yeah, and like obviously I don't think corporates can generally work if there isn't an element of rat race in it. There has to be.
Yeah, you have to think about yourself. And you have to think about yourself first and then the department, and then वो इस तरीके से चल रहा होता है. And then you know you have to be very self-centered in a way, like you know कि अच्छा मेरा
look out for yourself. Nobody is looking out for you.
Nobody is looking out for yourself because like you know on personal level आपकी like you know they would be like you know willing to like you know go out with you or be like you know in your friend circles or not, but professionally इस तरह है कि they cannot afford to create those like you know वो bonds. They have to be very quick, like because आप imagine करें ना कितने बंदे एक साथ महीनों में hire हो रहे होते हैं, कितने बंदे महीनों में जा भी रहे होते हैं. So it's always like you know some people coming in, some people going out. और वो cycle चल रहा है and that's how like you know it's a lot is happening at this like you know
all
every
at
time
once.
like all at once. तो वो इस तरीके से होता है, which is like you know मुझे ऐसा लगता है मेरे लिए तो हार्ड इस वजह से भी था ना कि मैं ऑलरेडी एक सेल्फ डाउट और उससे आ रही थी, लाइक यू नो आई वाज़न्ट फीलिंग द बेस्ट ऑफ माई सेल्फ के जो चीज़ें मुझे आती भी थी मैं बहुत खुल के नहीं बोल रही होती थी.
Yeah, but I think that's a very natural like imposter syndrome तो हर किसी को होता है, right? Especially when you go to a new place, even if you know things, so there's always that imposter syndrome, which obviously was compounded by your situation.
हाँ कि अच्छा पता नहीं बोलना क्या करना है क्या नहीं करना नहीं आता, और बहुत टाइम से आपको लगेगा कि यू नो वो शिट गलती कर दी, क्या कर लिया ये वो. But now when you look back, there's a lot that you know.
Yeah, and but did you feel like you did know things, like you were bringing value? Yes.
शुरू में जब होता है ना, जब आप जाते हो और आप बहुत ज़्यादा ओवरवेल्म हो जाते हो, तो उससे उसमें भी अपने आप को, इसीलिए मैं वही पॉइंट ला रही हूँ कि यू जस्ट नीड टू बी वेरी श्योर दैट व्हाई यू आर हियर. एंड वंस यू नो आप अपने आप को वो गोल याद करवाते हो ना कि आई एम हेयर फॉर दिस, एंड देन यू व्हेन स्टार्ट फोकसिंग ऑन दैट, आपको खुद ब खुद ही समझ में आने लग जाता है कि नो आई डू लाइक यू नो डू bring value to the table, or like you know these are the my strengths that I already bring to the table, and these are the things that I will learn along the time, and ये भी साथ उसके मिल जाएंगी. So वो आना शुरू हो गया because I had done a lot of content, like you know content में हमने जिस तरीके से different initiatives like different content platforms design किए, different contents plan करते थे, that those came in very handy, like you know having the sense of like you know how production is done, that came in.
Yeah,
like,
because
you know,
I think the thing with working in a small place like ours was कि आपकी लर्निंग स्टार्टअप्स में भी एक्चुअली काफ़ी एक्सेलरेटेड होती है बिकॉज यू डू वे टू मैनी रोल्स. बिकॉज स्मॉलर टीम्स होती हैं एंड एवरीबडी हैज़ एन आइडिया ऑफ everything, right? So like when I look at your journey, so it's just like, okay, you've done a lot of work in several different areas, so you've picked up on a lot of skills. एंड आई थिंक वो बंदे को वही होता है ना कि सो दैट्स व्हाई आई आस्क्ड कि जब आप वहाँ जाते हो आपको आई थिंक क्योंकि कॉर्पोरेट का एनवायरनमेंट थोड़ा इंटिमिडेटिंग होता है तो यू थिंक यू डोंट नो, बट व्हेन you know start doing the work you realize कि मुझे तो I have thoughts about this also and then I know something about this and that also.
ऐसे ही होता था कि whenever I like you know we're sitting in like you know lunch time पे या फिर like even just passing by the other departments and then you know जो भी उनका काम हो रहा होता है and then आपको एकदम से click करना शुरू हो जाता है कि oh I've done that as well. Like you know we have done admin as well, I've done ops as well, like you know HR like जो एम्प्लॉई का वो सारा होता है वो भी थोड़ा सा किया हुआ लाइक सो वहाँ पे आपको आहिस्ता आहिस्ता वो चीज़ें आप कह लें कि एक तरीके से आपकी याददाश्त वापस आना शुरू होती है कि लाइक यू नो ओ आई नो दिस इज वेल, ओ आई नो दिस इज वेल.
जनरली मैंने यही सुना है कि स्टार्टअप्स में ज़्यादा ग्रोथ होती है एज कम्पेयर टू कॉर्पोरेट. ये कॉर्पोरेट में आपका बड़ा स्पेसिफिक वो होता है लेकिन स्टार्टअप्स में बंदा बहुत सारी चीज़ें अक्रॉस द सॉर्ट ऑफ स्पेक्ट्रम सीखता है.
आई थिंक स्टार्टअप में आपका ये होता है कि इन अ वेरी स्मॉल टीम यू लर्न अ लॉट ऑफ डिफरेंट थिंग्स, राइट? बट व्हेन यू गो इनटू कॉर्पोरेट आपकी वो स्किल बिल्ड हुई होती है बट नाउ यू हैव टू डील विद अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल.
एंड आई थिंक इट्स जस्ट फास्टर.
बिकॉज बहुत सारे लोग हैं और उन बहुत सारे लोगों को साथ लेके चलना है एंड देन इवन तो आपका टास्क बहुत छोटा सा हो शायद लेकिन उसके स्टेक होल्डर्स इतने ज़्यादा होंगे दैट कि आपको सबको साथ लेके सबके अप्रूवल्स लेके फिर आप आगे तो इट्स वेरी फास्ट लाइक एंड इट्स वेरी लाइक यू नो बहुत सारे लोगों लाइक यू नो द डिफरेंस इज कि आप स्टार्टअप में बहुत थोड़े लोगों के आपके उसमें जल रहा होता है लेकिन आप सीख बहुत कुछ रहे होते बिकॉज यू डूइंग एवरीथिंग ऑन योर ओन, राइट? जब आप कॉर्पोरेट में जाते हो तो आप सॉर्ट ऑफ स्पेशलाइज्ड हो जाते हो. स्पेशलाइज्ड है आपका काम बट पीपल डीलिंग बहुत है वहाँ. Which was one of the reasons
which is why you went because you wanted to interact with all kinds of people and you know see कि अच्छा real world में किस तरह लोग होते हैं और क्या करते हैं. Because वो ये होता है ना कि I don't know, I haven't worked in a corporate लेकिन ये लोग ये कहते हैं कि environment जो है वो बड़ा like you वही वाली बात है, you have to look out for yourself.
You have to look out for yourself. It's just like that's why I'm saying it again and again. It might work for some people and it might won't work for you. So बाहर बैठ के decide करने से बेहतर है कि if you want to try it out, just try it out. There are some things that you will enjoy, like you know some added perks that comes with the job, like you know and then you get to see like you get to connect with a lot of people in the market, like you know जो उनके बड़े
connections
लोग
हैं,
yes,
100%
वो होता है आपका. कोई projects अगर आपने करने होते हैं तो you have bigger budgets to do it, right? So you get that as well, like आप practice कर लेते हो एक दफ़ा कि like you know how do you manage bigger budgets.
That's true.
So उन सारी situations में अपने आप को जाके test कर लें and decide for yourself, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It's not like the end of the world, like you know. But ये कि I learned a lot, like it's just कि जिस चीज़ के लिए मैं गई थी it did happen, like you know I found that confidence back as well, like I found out like you know I know things a lot, I bring a lot to the table, and it's not just the knowledge of it, it's my discipline of things as well, like you know I might not be the most smartest person in the room but I know how to do things in a very organized way which will always be like you know कि वो present बहुत अच्छा होता है फिर like you know I put things in like you know in the right boxes, I do things like you know बहुत अच्छे तरीके से उसका तो वो सारी चीज़ें आपको और ज़्यादा आपको ना कॉन्फिडेंस देती हैं कि ओके ठीक है, आपने बड़े इन्वायरमेंट में भी देख लिया है कि लाइक यू नो हाउ टू डू थिंग्स. सो फॉर दैट लाइक लर्निंग पर्सपेक्टिव वाइज आई थिंक इट जिस चीज़ के लिए मैं गई थी लाइक it did happen, like
yeah. So recently, I know that you had to be kind of like the main breadwinner for your family, right? Because there was a situation at home, and then you had to do that. I think that's major growing up when जब financial responsibility आपके ऊपर आती है, and that is something जो बहुत सारे लोगों के ऊपर बहुत जल्दी आ जाती है, बहुत सारे लोगों के ऊपर like इसी एज में जाके आती है, और बहुत सारी especially a lot of women उनके ऊपर ऑलमोस्ट कभी भी नहीं आती. बट आई डू थिंक एट वन पॉइंट और द अदर सब औरतों के ऊपर आती है. एंड आई थिंक वो एक बहुत मेजर रियलिटी चेक है. सो आई वांट टू हैव अ डिस्कशन विद यू ऑन दैट. हाउ वाज दैट फॉर यू?
आई थिंक जब वो सिचुएशन मेरे ऊपर आई ना, आई थिंक आई वाज़न्ट प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर इट. लाइक anybody else, like आप लाइफ आपके साथ कुछ एकदम अचानक से हो जाता है and you're not prepared for it कि okay ठीक है, now I have to step up and now I have to be the breadwinner and now I cannot be like that recklessly young person who would be like कि मैं अभी ये नहीं कर रही या मुझे वो करना है, या मतलब मेरे पास choices नहीं रही, right? So I have to be like I have this job and I have to work this job, like no matter कुछ हो रहा है, मुझे पसंद आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा, जिस तरीके से भी जा रहा है, I do not have the liberty to right now say कि मैं नहीं करना चाहती, right? Because I'm in a position कि अब बस घर पे ज़रूरत है और करना है. तो initially तो like it didn't like it was really hard. It was really hard क्योंकि it's not just मुझे हमेशा लगता है कि पैसे तो बहुत बाय प्रोडक्ट होते हैं ना, उसके अलावा जो चीज़ें होती हैं ना उसमें इट्स नॉट जस्ट द फाइनेंसेस. अगर आप फाइनेंशियल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी भी ले रहे हैं ना, तो देयर इज़ अ लॉट दैट्स हैपनिंग उसके साथ साथ. लाइक सडनली यू आर दी पर्सन जिससे सारे सवालात पूछे जा रहे हैं, सारे फैसले किस तरह करने हैं, ये क्या करें, उसका क्या करें. देन लाइक you're seeing like आपके अगर छोटे बहन भाई हैं आपके, तो आप उनको देख रहे हो कि यार उनकी एजुकेशन है वो किस तरीके से होगी, क्या नहीं करना, बिकॉज यू वुड वांट देम टू हैव लाइक नाइस एजुकेशन एंड देन लाइक ये अभी टेम्प्रेरी सिचुएशन है लेकिन किस तरीके से करना. सो इनिशियली तो मुझे समझ में ही नहीं आ रहा था कि मेरे साथ मतलब ओके ठीक है दिस इज़ द सिचुएशन बट हाउ टू गो अबाउट इट. लाइक आई हैव नेवर लाइक आई स्टिल डोंट नो कि मार्केट में जाके चीज़ें लाइक कि रेट क्या चल रहा होता था, या कितने मतलब एक घर चलाने के लिए किस तरीके से आप किस तरह मैनेज कर रहे होते थे. हो रहा था जब तक बाबा कर रहे थे सब, आपको इतना अंदाज़ा आप सुनते थे लेकिन आपको उस तरीके से पता नहीं चलता था. एंड देन देयर वर मंथ्स हमना कि everything like I wasn't doing only one thing, because that one thing wasn't enough to keep like a family, like support a family of 6 people, right? And in this economy, so I was doing like multiple, like I would take on gigs, I would do content, I would do a lot of grunt work, which I like which were I like it was something जो कि मैंने पहले कर लिया हुआ था मैं उस मतलब, लेकिन because of my position I had to do it, like I needed the money, so I had to do a lot of grunt work. I did, and वो सारी चीज़ें थी, but वो सब करने के बावजूद there would be months where I would have nothing for myself. Right, like पहली तारीख आई है तो ये हो गया,
because focus is the essentials, right?
सब कुछ हो गया ये वो, but then what, like अब आगे क्या होगा, पूरे वो होता ना कि अच्छा ठीक है ये हो गया, सारी चीज़ें हो गई. But then at that time, like I saw myself like finding ways to have money, like where I can use my brain and like get money for like myself. I remained very calm, I didn't panic, I won't be like कि मैं कर सकती हूँ नहीं कर सकती ये वो. Initially वो हो रहा था कि मैं किस सिचुएशन में हूँ, किस तरीके से हो पाएगा, लेकिन जब आप कॉन्टीन्यूसली कर रहे होते हो ना, आप रियलाइज़ करते हो कि इट्स नॉट दैट लाइक इट्स नॉट समथिंग जो आपको लगता है कि आप नहीं कर सकते. आप बहुत पावरफुल होते हो, और जब आप उस सिचुएशन में होते हो ना, तभी आपको पता लगता है कि आप किस तरीके से वो कर सकते हो. अल्लाह ताला कभी भी किसी इंसान को उसकी लाइक उसके थ्रेशोल्ड से ज़ाहिर बाहर कोई चीज़ नहीं देता. तो वो लाइक वो होता रहा, बट इट वॉज हार्ड. बट आई ऑल्सो रियलाइज कि आई कैन डू इट. लाइक एक तो वो मेरी साथ ही वो हार्ड लाइफ वाला प्लान चल ही रहा था कि अभी तो मैं अपने आप को बहुत हार्ड चैलेंज कर रही हूँ और ये वो, बट देन लाइफ हैड अनदर हार्ड चैलेंज फॉर मी. सो बोथ एट टाइम्स मैं बहुत ज़्यादा वो हो जाती थी कि एक तो मेरी ऑलरेडी इतना वो चल रहा है, फिर फाइनेंसेस का प्रेशर है. लाइक मुझे ऐसा लगता था आई माइट क्रैक, like I might crack. This is it. I cannot go any further than that. And I had so many nights of where I'm like, no, I can't do this. I stopped talking to my friends. I stopped going out. because मुझे समझ ही नहीं आती थी कि मैं अपने उस चीज़ के लिए एक्सपेंसेस कहाँ से निकालूंगी. और दूसरी चीज़ ये कि I don't want to go out and rant about my situation and be like, I don't know मैं क्या कैसे कर रही हूँ, या फिर मैं इस situation में हूँ. I didn't want like people to be like, oh my God, she's going through something. Right? So to avoid that, I avoided going out. Like, I won't meet people, I won't talk to anyone. I was just like, काम करना है, ये काम खत्म हो गया, ये भी काम करना है, वो भी काम करना है. I would work like on weekends. I would just keep myself busy because I know the minute I would have like, free time, I would start crying. I would be like, I don't have like, I do not have that freedom anymore where I can just be like, नहीं हो रहा तो आज नहीं कर सकती. Like, because when you're taking projects, वो आपकी कोई full time चीज़ नहीं हो रही थी. You have deadlines. You have to do the work and then you have to submit the work. Like you cannot be like, अच्छा आज नहीं हो रहा कल कर लूँगी. Like, वो. And then so I kept myself a little busy with that. But उसके बहुत ज़्यादा नुकसानात भी हैं. कि जब आप किसी से बात ही नहीं कर रहे, जब आप किसी को बता ही नहीं रहे कि what you are going through, because that in itself is a learning, like a growth in itself. कि मुझे ये realize हो रहा है, या मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि like sometimes like on days जब आपको लगता है कि you can do it, like you would want to talk about it कि अच्छा ये हो रहा है वो हो रहा है, but I wasn't able to talk about it because जब मैं बात करने की कोशिश भी करती थी ना कि like I would feel that it would come off as very wrong. And I will tell you why. कि हमारी ना सोसाइटी में ये होता है कि हमने बहुत क्लियरली डिफाइन किया हुआ है ना कि ये मर्द के काम है और ये औरत के काम है, राइट. एंड देन व्हेन कुछ सिचुएशंस ऐसी हों जहाँ पे लड़कियों को या औरतों को कुछ करना पड़ रहा है और वो फाइनेंसेस देख रही हैं, वो सब कुछ कर रही हैं, those other expectations doesn't go away. Like you're still there. Like you have to. You cannot complain. As simple as that. You cannot just complain about it. Like, I would be so tired by the end of it, but then I would see that my mother is doing everything and nobody else is helping her. Like, but I would have to get up and do things, like, and then get very mad at every single family member. Like, कि मैं वो नहीं कर सकती, मैं अभी ये वाली रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ले रही हूँ, तो प्लीज़ एटलीस्ट ये वाली रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ले लो. राइट. वो बहुत ज़्यादा होता है. एंड व्हेनेवर आई यूज्ड लाइक उसको करने की कोशिश करो तो उसका लाइक आई डोंट नो, वो हमेशा इस तरीके से हो जाता था कि मे बी अभी ये कर रही है तो इस वजह से ये बोल रही है. राइट. इट वुड कम ऑफ एज वेरी रॉन्ग. एंड ऑब्वियसली बिकॉज मेरे एंड पे भी ये है कि मैं बहुत ज़्यादा फ्रस्ट्रेट होके बोल रही हूँ, तो इट वुड ऑलवेज कम ऑफ एज लाइक
it wasn't a sit down have a communication. It always felt like a frustration and like an irrational sort of frustration, right? Even if it's rational,
but it comes out very wrong, like
because it's full of like feelings.
It's full of feeling. So वो बहुत ज़्यादा हो जाता था. And I mean, like, it's just, I like, when I look back at the entire year, it's just, I feel like that the learnings that I've had is like, वो बिल्कुल ना, वो turn हो गया. Like, I had like, मैं बल्कि इसी podcast की start में मैं like very protected, very like, very understanding, like, kind of life. And then here you are, like, life had it planned कि यार ये एक साल इसने
and this is a very very big ये जो moment होता है ना, is very eye opening. So you've lived your entire life where somebody has earned for you, and for a lot of women as well when they get married, but a lot of women, even if they don't do it, like when you just watch your husband and you see, I've seen women Usra, तो आपको realization होती है कि कितना मुश्किल काम है, बहुत ज़्यादा. And it's very stressful and it's very hard. And like I just feel like कि जो भी breadwinners होते हैं ना, and in most cases it's the men, we don't realize कि obviously they can't complain about it because they take it as their job and their duty, and I think हमने तो masculinity को इतना toxic भी कर दिया है कि men are not allowed to complain about anything, especially not this.
Yes, yeah.
कि you know this is your job. It's so stressful just to know that you have to sustain your wife and especially your children or whatever, and in your case like your siblings and your entire family, and then obviously like बहुत सारे लोगों के साथ ये भी होता है कि फिर आगे their parents and parents भी होते हैं और बच्चे भी होते हैं और बीवी भी होती है. So I think वही मैं कह रही हूँ कि growing up का सबसे बड़ा reality check है where you really realize okay what your father in most cases and in a lot of cases your mother has done for you, and like how it hasn't been easy.
And like I would say this here, like I found a new respect for my father in this time period, like even though we had these financial problems, पहले भी हर किसी की आती है when you're working, like you're not the owner, like you're working for someone, आती हैं problems, like my father was laid off, like वो financial जो crisis आया था in I think 2008-2009 में, right? तो उस time पे भी आई थी, सुना था बस. It never affected in any way.
Yeah, but and it can't, like the toll it probably took on your father, right? And just knowing that he has kids to feed and everything, it's a very difficult place to be.
And I would be like creating memes like अपने बहन भाइयों के साथ वो करके कि like now I realize कि घर में जब अब्बू आते हैं ईद पे सोते क्यों हैं सिर्फ. Right? Why they don't want to do anything on Sunday.
And I do think that's why we need to create safe spaces for men as well.
Definitely.
To be able to express their stress simply, which don't exist.
I think I like one of my best friend, like when she got married, so like जब आप initially conversation कर रहे होते हो अपने partner के साथ और वो सारी चीज़ें, so like she told me this one day, like कि when her husband came back, like काम से वापस आए तो वो वैसे ही उनके like बैठी हुई थी, and then she just said like I'm really grateful that you do all of these things for me and like your family. And she told me that her husband's reaction was like उनको समझ में ही नहीं आया, like because nobody stops and tell them this, like and he was like I didn't even realize before this that this is something that one should be grateful about, or like if I'm doing something like बहुत extraordinary और वो सारी चीज़ें. So this is like this, like they are not even at the liberty to be like कि ठीक है मैं कल भी काम पे ही जाऊँगा, but I can still complain about it, like that okay like I'm tired or I don't like I don't want to do it. होता है ना, sometimes you just want to say those things out loud, but then you do it, like life ऐसी है, like you have to do certain things because you have to do it, but at least have the like एक आपका वो कि आप खुल के कह तो सको, like आप normalize करो
कि this is stressful for me. I think
this is stressful for me, like
just that much. To have that space to say that. And recently my husband said that somebody said to him कि like your wife, like does she support you in all of the decisions that you take, and and जब finances का मसला हो रहा होता है या कुछ भी हो रहा होता है तो you take when you take risks that can affect finances, या crunch आ रहा है या कुछ आ रहा है, because हम लोगों का ये कि because we work on everything is project basis, so most of the times we're able to do well, alhamdulillah, but there are times when things are not happening, right? So my husband was like she always does na, and if I'm unable to do a certain thing, so she always steps up for me. तो ही सर कि तुम्हें ना अपनी बीवी के पाँव धोने चाहिए, तो पाँव दबाने चाहिए, धोने चाहिए, something like that. And he said क्यों? कहता है क्योंकि तुम्हारी सारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, और अगर वो तुम्हारे साथ खड़ी हुई है ना इस सिचुएशन में भी, then she's doing something, she's going out of her way for you. तो वो बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग था कि this is your job and this is your role, and if your partner is having that support, क्योंकि he said कि he knew someone कि जिनकी बीवी kind of उनके financial मसले थे, and when the husband said to the wife कि आजकल finances में मसला है तो don't spend too much, right, and the next day she went and she did lots of shopping, right, and she's like, oh, that's not my problem, this is what I want, this is the kind of life I want, and it's not my problem that you are unable to make it happen, so you make it happen. So he was like, usme bhi I couldn't say anything because she was right, like this is my job. But see, that's the thing, that's the issue with gender roles, because wo reverse mein bhi yahi hota hai with women. Like I don't care, like तुम्हारे क्या मसले हैं, या तुम्हारा पोस्टपार्टम गुजर रहा है, या तुम्हारे वर्क इश्यूज गुजर रहे हैं, तुम्हारा काम है कि बच्चे सेट होने चाहिए, राइट. सो दैट इज व्हाई जेंडर रोल्स दोनों एंड पे this flexibility is required, where a man can support his wife and the wife can support her husband when they're finding it hard to manage their role. That's teamwork.
Exactly.
Yeah.
True.
It's not about फिर तो तू मैं है.
हाँ.
Right.
I think it's no fun as well, like कि आपने एक बॉक्स बना दिया था और अगला बंदा सारी जिंदगी उस बॉक्स में
मर रहा है, हो नहीं रहा उससे, लेकिन उसी ने करना है. And if it's affecting the entire team and if it's affecting the entire family, तो फिर क्या फायदा? But if your support can help everyone, then might as well provide that support. And I think वही जेंडर रोल्स में दोनों को एक दूसरे को स्पेस और फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी देना बहुत ज़रूरी है. और बिकॉज हमने जेंडर रोल्स को इतना हमारे प्रीवियस जनरेशन से इतना स्ट्रिक्ट कर दिया, nobody was happy. Not the men and not the women.
Nobody is happy, and I think with more awareness there's all like more feelings. Now, because एक time था कि people weren't even sure कि ये feel कर सकते हैं या नहीं कर सकते, is this something to talk about or not to be talked about. But now when we are talking about it, so there are feelings, but अब उन feelings को बेहतर channel कैसे करना है is the question, how you can sit down, communicate and create that sort of relationship between between you and your partner, where you are doing things together or वो सारी चीज़ें. I think मैंने एक recently कोई clip भी देखी थी Instagram पे viral हुई थी, like she was like marriage is never 50-50, my husband would come to me and he would say like I can only do 20 today, and
because we're humans, we're not robots.
Yeah. So I would then put 80 in it, and sometimes, and उसने ये भी बोल रही थी कि sometimes he would have 20, I would have 20, and then we would be and then we need to sit down and figure out how we can work out the rest of the 60. Right, because it's possible. It's not always going to be कि उसका 20 है तो मैं 80 कर लूँगा, नहीं हो सकता. Sometimes आप भी किसी चीज़ से आपके लिए भी stressful होगा, आपकी चीज़ उसके लिए भी होगी, then but you need to sit down and figure out कि how we can work around it, और किस तरीके से कर सकते हैं.
So I think the teamwork aspect of any marriage is so essential, and for couples to sit and have these conversations about their capacity to bring to the table right now is a conversation that a lot of people just don't even have, when I feel like it's the most essential, and how they can create space for each other. And Usra, I don't know why I'm having this conversation with you, हम उसमें घुस गए because it's irrelevant to you, but generally in marriages, it's like we tend to focus a lot on okay, your job and my job and how we're sustaining the family, in terms of all the things we have to do, and bring 80 and 20 or how much you can do. In this entire process, we kind of stop creating this space for each other's emotions. So what I'm trying to say is that when a couple tends to sit down and have a conversation about what they can do or what they cannot do, more often than not, even if you're offering that support, people are offering that support in terms of, okay, then maybe I can take this on right now, and I can do this, or you can do this, which is good. I'm not saying that there's something wrong with that conversation, but we're spending a lot of that time in that conversation talking about solutions rather than creating space for the emotions.
Yeah, I get your point. Yeah.
So a lot of the times, so for me, for example, when I first became a mom, there was a lot of times that I needed just emotional validation or emotional support, or have support for, or have space for my emotions and what I'm going through, because I knew that it was impossible for my husband to offer me physical support in so many areas, because he cannot breastfeed my child.
Yeah.
Right? So solutions pay, a lot of times those solutions pay, you keep banging your head against the wall over solutions, when basically you just need
acknowledge karna.
Yes, you need to create space for that emotions. And that was something that we had to sit and communicate to each other. Listen, I know that my complaining of how there's so much going on in my life gives you a stress and the need to figure it out and provide a solution, but that's not what I'm asking for. I just need you to know that this is what you're going through. So I think this space needs to be created for both ends, because in a lot of the times, जैसे मैंने motherhood की बात की, men also feel like they know that for example, their wife cannot step up financially, or this is not her job, or this is his stress. So a lot of the times, because men tend to have a very sort of problem solving mentality, solution oriented approach to everything, they won't even share it. Women do have an emotional oriented approach to stuff, so they will talk about stuff. Men won't even do that, because they're thinking, what's the point of a conversation that doesn't have a solution?
They do that.
So they need to be told, have the conversation for the sake of just creating space for your emotions, just for validations, just so that your wife can say, listen, I know this is really hard for you, I see it. It's just the feeling of being seen. Couples don't do that.
It's just like वही बात है ना कि sometimes जिस बारे में आप बात भी कर रहे हो, you don't want that problem or the thing to just suddenly go away. It's just like your process, like it's hard. आप बस वो कहना चाह रहे होते हो. And I think, and I know कि हर इंसान की, as a human being, everybody has that need where to hear those words कि I understand.
I see you. I see you. I see that you're doing all this. I see that you feed our child all night, and I see that you do this and you do that. Because what happens, like so for example, if in a conversation between a couple, the woman says that it's so hard for me, I have to feed the baby all night, and then I have to do this, and I have to wake up in the morning and still look after the child, I don't get to sleep enough, I don't get to eat, I don't get to... In a couple that doesn't have a team mentality, the other will tend to think it's because I'm not doing enough, so I'm being attacked. It's not an attack. It's just me saying my life is hard. And when the other person thinks it's an attack, they're like, no, but I'm doing this, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing this for you, and doing that for you. So I think these are very sensitive sort of situations. And I'm talking about couples, but this could be in any kind of conflict.
I think in any situation where जहाँ पे space नहीं होती, and जहाँ पे I think it's not, I think it was just about the awareness नहीं होती कि sometimes the conversations are just for the sake of conversations. It's not about complaining, it's not about attacking the other person,
it's not about solutions. Sometimes it's just about processing.
Because आप भी as a human, आप जब तक खुद बाहर निकालोगे नहीं अल्फाज में, आपको खुद भी समझ नहीं आएगा कि what you're going through. Because in the head it's all gitch-mitch, right? You need to say it out loud to the right person who can just listen at that time, and then be like, okay, ठीक है. And then आप अपने आप को कहते हुए सुनते हो कि okay, ये है,
हम breadwinner से यहाँ आ गए. So did you have more thoughts on that?
No, it's just like हम ये बात कर रहे थे कि I found a new respect, like for my father, for every person, like be it a man or a woman who go out, like and who supports their family. लाइक वो इस तरह से हो गया था कि आई वुड क्रॉस द स्ट्रीट्स और रोड एंड आई वुड सी डिफरेंट मैन लाइक यू नो डूइंग एंड आई वुड जस्ट बी लाइक यू नो हाउ हार्ड इज देयर लाइफ.
Yeah, especially like आप जा रहे होते हो और आप देख रहे होते हो you know men behind वो क्या ठेले वगैरह लेके या जो भी walk करके या कुछ भी
लेबर जो आपको दिख रहे होते हैं कि
like,
कहीं कंस्ट्रक्शन हो रही है कुछ वो सब हो रहा है. एंड देन आई वुड बी सिटिंग इन द कार आई वुड बी लाइक यू नो मैं क्यों सोच रही हूँ कि लाइक यू नो मैं कहाँ हूँ, क्या हो रहा है, किस तरीके से हो रहा है. See all of these people who never complains like वो उनको बस पता है कि हमें किसी तरीके से करना है और वो करते रहेंगे और आपको कभी पता नहीं चलेगा कि वो कैसे.
और हमारी इकोनॉमी तो में स्पेशली लोअर क्लास में तो women are doing so much work. उनको भी करना पड़ रहा है and they're doing it for that. Yeah, it's hard.
To meet the ends like you know everybody is going out.
उनके यहाँ तो double income is even more important.
बट वहाँ पे भी लाइक नॉट लाइक उस क्लास में भी नहीं, इस क्लास में भी नहीं, बट वी डोंट सिट डाउन एंड बी लाइक यू नो के लाइक वी अंडरस्टैंड दैट इट्स समथिंग वेरी स्ट्रेसफुल एंड हार्ड एंड देन वी सी यू लाइक यू नो एंड देन आई would like you know I see बाबा के साथ में conversations and I would like you know now I understand why would you be in that mood
and why would you sleep
and why would you sleep like you know why would you do. And I think उनसे ज़्यादा फादर से ज़्यादा कोई सेल्फलेस नहीं होगा लाइक यू नो दे इंटायर लाइफ. आई वुड बी लाइक मैं अपने आप को सोचती थी कि यार मैं अभी करना पड़ रहा है ना मुझे, मेरी ये कोई परमानेंट सिचुएशन नहीं है. सारी ज़िंदगी कोई आपके लिए बिना आपको कुछ कहे यू नो कि आई हैव टू डू दिस फॉर यू कर रहे हैं. लाइक यू हैव फूड, यू हैव क्लोथ्स, यू हैव एजुकेशन, यू आर गोइंग आउट, यू लाइक यू नो यू आर एंजॉइंग एवरीथिंग. एंड देन उनके जहन में क्या चल रहा होता था, कब किस तरीके से वो परेशान है, क्या है आपको नहीं पता होता. सो विच इज़ लाइक आई वॉज एक्सट्रीमली थैंकफुल ऑफ अल्लाह ताला कि अल्लाह ताला ने मुझे ये इस पोजीशन में डाला कि आई विल अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट माई फादर you know went through and now he has the time to relax because somebody else can do it.
That's wonderful.
And then he can have the time he didn't have like you know हम बैठे होते थे और हम ईद आई और ईद पे बात हो रही थी कि वो यू नो असफर लाइक यू नो मेरा जो भाई है वो कह रहा था कि ना मेरे साथ ईद पे भी अब कोई होगा लाइक यू नो आई वोंट हैव. पहले उसके पास कोई नहीं होता था लाइक यू नो सब अपने आप को इधर उधर सब अपने लोगों को गले लगा रहे होते थे, मेरे पास कोई होता ही नहीं था तो मैं किसको कहूँ ये वो. एंड देन यू नो कोई भी कॉन्वर्सेशन हो रही कहीं से भी जा रहे तो बाबा वुड बी सी लाइक यू नो आई एम डूइंग दिस फॉर आफ्टर दिस मैनी ईयर्स. एंड यू नो वो एक आराम से आपको रियलाइज कि आप अपनी ज़िंदगी जी रहे थे. लाइक अदर पर्सन वॉज मिसिंग आउट ऑन सो मच बिकॉज ही वॉज डूइंग अलॉट. आई वॉज रियली थैंकफुल टू अल्लाह ताला कि उन्होंने मुझे इस सिचुएशन में डाला एंड मुझे प्रिपेयर कर लिया लाइक यू नो इन अ वे लाइक तो आई डिड स्टेप अप फॉर माई फैमिली बट फॉर द फ्यूचर एज वेल लाइक इफ एवर दिस टाइम कम्स अगेन I know I am prepared. Like you know I know I can do it. I can take care of it. I can take care of the entire family. So like you know वो एक empowerment आपको मिलती है कि I can do it like you know. So वो जो सारे doubts which is why I say like you know वो जो एक hard environment में जाने थे, वो जो लोगों के साथ deal करने वाले थे, जो एक अपने अंदर के doubts थे, वो सब अल्लाह ताला ने बहुत खूबसूरती से plan out किए हुए थे कि like you know you would come out of it as like you know you are something like you know you can do it.
So Usra, you said that to me in a private conversation you said that to me that you feel like you're finally understanding what it means to be a woman. Like you are beginning to understand that and embracing that. What does that mean?
Like आप अपनी ज़िंदगी में जब जी रहे होते हो ना like you know like I said I was very like alhamdulillah like had my own like very different like जो भी थी बहुत protected थी, बहुत उस तरीके से ज़िंदगी चल रही थी. आप कभी इस तरीके से रियल वर्ल्ड में एक्सपोज नहीं हुए होते हो. जब आप बाहर जाते हो आप बहुत सारे मुख्तलिफ लोगों में बैठते हो ना, तब आपको वो पहली दफ़ा किक इन करना शुरू करता है कि ओह द डिफरेंस इज़ रियल. देयर इज़ अ डिफरेंस. There are two genders like you know
and there's discrimination
and there is discrimination like you know you would lose out on a lot just because you are a woman. You won't be part of a certain gathering because you are a woman, or you would be given extra special treatment because you are a woman, right? And special like वो special treatment भी as in like comes in form of very like आप पिटी कर रहे हो कोई like you know
because you cannot
हाँ so आप कर नहीं सकती तो ये करना ही है वो करके. बट आई वुड से कि ये सब स्टार्ट उस टाइम पे हुआ था व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड हैविंग हार्मोनल इश्यूज, लाइक यू नो अब आपकी बॉडी में चेंजेस आ रहे हैं, लाइक उससे पहले लाइक यू नो यू हैव लाइक आप ठीक हो, आपको भी इतना सोच नहीं रहे बैठ के, लाइक यू हैव
हार्मोन्स से पहले भी औरतों के अप एंड डाउन होता है ना.
आई थिंक लाइक in a way जब मुझे मेरी वो चीज़ खराब हुई, like you know where I was put in a situation,
I think you became more aware of your
like,
hormones.
you know, when I was put in that spot,
yeah.
you are now, you're having this problem because you're a woman.
Yeah.
ठीक है, it's not a very, you are having this problem.
The realization that some things are happening because you're a woman.
And then how you would become, because of that you would become conscious of your own body. How would you become like conscious of, like उससे पहले होते हैं आप, हम फिटनेस की बात करते हैं, हम बोलते हैं कि you know you want to look certain way, you want to dress up certain way, you want to do it, but वो आप subconsciously बस कर रहे हो, like you know we have this thought कि okay अच्छा हम लड़कियां हम ये कर रहे हैं ये वो, बट वो जो आपके अंदर है, लाइक यू नो वो एक जो हमने सिर्फ एक सुना हुआ था कि यू नो वो एक आपके अंदर होता है, आपका
योर केमिस्ट्री, योर बायोलॉजी,
लाइक यू नो इट्स इनसाइड यू, इट्स नॉट व्हाट्स आउटसाइड, लाइक यू नो. तो वो आप देखते हो कि लाइक ओके ठीक है, आई एम हैविंग दिस प्रॉब्लम बिकॉज आई एम अ वुमन, सो व्हाट इट्स लाइक टू बी अ वुमन, लाइक व्हाट्स अ वुमन, लाइक यू नो हु इज अ वुमन, what problems they go through, like you know, and you would realize कि ये आप सुनते हमेशा आए थे, आपको उस टाइम पे टाइम बीइंग में शायद अफेक्ट भी किया होगा कि किसी और के साथ ऐसा हुआ या किसी और के साथ ऐसा हो रहा था. They were going through like they experienced discrimination, they experienced harassment, they experienced like you know जो भी आपकी gender based different violences हैं, gender based problems हैं, gender based बी इट या पर्सनल प्रोफेशनल, वो आपने सुनी हुई होती है, आपने कभी देखी भी नहीं होती. आप जब तक आप वो एक्सपीरियंस नहीं करते, और एक्सपीरियंस करते हुए भी जब तक आप अवेयर नहीं होते, there is a thing that you experience it, but there is a thing that you were aware when you experienced it. So now you can point it out that you know okay ठीक है, I'm being treated differently because I'm a woman. राइट. सो उससे पहले मुझे आई थिंक मैंने कभी उस तरीके से बैठ के सोचा नहीं था, या मैंने कभी एक्सपीरियंस नहीं किया था कि ओ आई एम अ वुमन, और लाइक पीपल आर लुकिंग एट मी वेरी डिफरेंटली, और पीपल आर ट्रीटिंग मी वेरी डिफरेंटली, और ओ शी कांट डू इट, और ओ like you know I saw glass ceiling वाली चीज़ in a very like you know with my own eyes experienced it कि how in so many organizations women are just there for the sake of representation. They're not just there because the organization truly believes in them. They're just there because they have to show that we do empower women. ठीक है. there would be times when you know कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा, कुछ नहीं किया जा रहा, कुछ नहीं पूछा जा रहा, but there would be celebratory days like Women Days. Like you know the organization will try to make up for it. Because like you know मतलब superficially आपको एक करना है वो सारे, but at the end आपको उसमें नहीं.
I mean there's no point of having Women's Day in your office when during meetings there's lots of mansplaining going on. Women are not being given the chance to speak up, to share their point of view, or even if they do, it's considered like oh this is not important, you know. इसको क्या पता.
And then मैंने for the first time देखा कि एक टेबल के ऊपर अगर एक औरत और एक मर्द बैठे हुए हैं, और एक औरत ने वो एक चीज़ बोली है और वही चीज़ एक मर्द ने दोबारा बोली है, तो उस मर्द को सिर्फ उसकी ही बात सुनाई दी गई.
No, but even women do this, Usra. So even like because see even in our workplace, so this was something that's not something ke oh like see this is conditioning. So even in our workplace जहाँ पर हमारा culture बहुत अच्छा था, very equal, treating everyone with respect, no discrimination as such, but see there were things like जो मैंने बाद में Women's Day पे भी discuss की थी, I don't know, you were there, कि you know like with me and my male counterpart boss,
yes
I would be always taken less seriously by the men and the women in the team. Without them realizing that they are doing that. वो तो मुझे समझ में आती थी कि अच्छा यार मैंने भी तो ये बात की थी या मैंने भी कुछ कहा था, but you know when you have a male counterpart, it's not even, it's like it's so ingrained that people don't even realize that it's happening.
People
because
do it subconsciously, like you know.
It's subconscious because it is a patriarchal society. बचपन से हमने power अपने अब्बुओं के हाथ में देखी, अपने भाइयों के हाथ में देखी, तो naturally even those women who went to workplaces and they saw that they have a male boss and a female boss and men of course, so they always paid more attention to the
we saw them as authoritative figures,
more authoritative figures. even if they were equal या जो भी.
Yeah. So it's just like, you know, अगर एक फीमेल बात कर रही है तो it's just like, you know, उसकी एक अलग टोन होती है ना.
Yeah.
She would be like, she's naturally soft in the pitch.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it doesn't mean that she doesn't have opinions or she doesn't have the authority to say.
Yeah, or she's not saying something right. Yeah.
Right? And then हमारे अंदर मैंने देखा है कि हम औरतों के अंदर भी ये होता है कि जब भी हम कोई बहुत बिल्कुल टू द पॉइंट बात कर रहे होंगे, बट देन वील ऐड वन सेंटेंस दैट मेक अस लाइक, यू नो, ऐसा ही है ना, लाइक, यू नो, इज दैट राइट,
Yeah,
you know,
like with this validation.
yeah, we would do that.
Yes,
right?
we do that.
Like, you know, right?
Right? है ना? Yeah.
We do that. We are like, you know, वो हाँ बोलेंगे तो ही ये
Oh my
सही
God,
होगा.
Usra, and this is something sharing on a personal level that Muzammil actually made me realize. He would say to me, हमना तुम मुझसे जब बात करती हो तुम हर सेंटेंस के बाद बोलती हो, है ना, क्योंकि तुम्हें consistently होता है कि if Muzammil approves, then it's actually right. And he was the one who told me that you need to stop taking my approval for every decision and everything in your life,
Yeah.
because it's not required. Like तुम्हें मैंने इतना वो, like, you know, मतलब we don't have that kind of relationship. Why do you have to?
Yeah.
We are equals.
But if he didn't point it out तो आपको realize भी नहीं
Realize नहीं होता था. And then I was like, oh my God.
हाँ,
That is so true.
Yeah, हम ऐसे करते हैं. I would write an email and there would be so many please and kindly in that, and then I would have to erase that because I would like, you know, just come with that authority कि no, I want this, because I would naturally go like, you know, please can we have this, or like, you know, can I see this? I would go like this. Like,
I would do that as well too. Like, you know, मेरे employees जो है, मेरे team member, can you do this? Like, it was like, अगर please use करना है that's fine, but can you नहीं होना चाहिए तेरा.
हाँ.
Please report to the office at this
like,
time,
you know,
because
हाँ.
I feel like it please is something जो कि is basic तमीज़, but you know, just can you, or will it be possible for you,
Yeah.
or इस तरह, like,
हाँ, then you have to find that right वो कि where you are coming off
With
as an authority person,
yeah.
but you're not being like, you know, seeking for the validation कि
Yeah.
oh, can you do that, will you please.
हाँ.
So ये चीज़ें मैंने अपने सामने होते देखी, and then I realized कि whatever I've heard is happening, and more, like, you know, when it's not just what I've heard, इसकी और भी अंदर बहुत सारी
Yeah.
layers हैं, and then to fit in those environments, some women will become so hard, so bitter,
yeah.
so, and then you'll be like कि
Yeah. क्यों, and then you realize कि उसको ऐसा होना क्यों पड़ा.
क्यों होना पड़ा. I realized that, like, you know, I would, पहले मुझे होता था कि क्यों, मतलब like, you know, why would you be so bitter, but now I realize why one had to be bitter, because they were not being taken seriously.
Yeah, until they had a certain, like, resting bitch face,
Yes.
or an aggressive tone, or a loud tone, or a, you know, that kind of a thing.
But then जो मैं, you know, वो बात कही थी ना कि embracing women, I realized that I don't have to be bitter.
Yeah.
I don't have to be hard to get myself heard. Right? I am a woman. I will have a certain tone. Right? I am more compassionate. It's in my nature.
It's in your nature.
I can't challenge that, or I'll be like, I'm not this person, right? ये मेरे अंदर है, naturally है कि I will have a very, like, you know, compassionate towards.
Yes, because you have those hormones and you are maternal.
Yes,
Yeah.
like, you know, so आपके अंदर, and that is why, like, you know, there are so many studies telling that women leaders are like, you know, the most successful leaders,
Yeah.
because they see human.
Yeah, because उनकी leadership में compassion
Yeah,
होता है.
yes.
हाँ.
तो वो है, and then उसमें, like, you know, within the body, within, like, you know, in the society, that is why, like, you know, when I say that I have truly started embracing being a woman, like, you know, a woman and like, you know, to be a woman and earning in the society, to be a woman and, like, you know, having a voice, to be a woman and, like, you know, going through physical bodily changes, like, you know, to be a woman and experience, like, you know, what I had was just I would say sneak peek of what mothers go through, like, you know, like आपको पूरा process होता है, फिर आप वो motherhood है आपका, so it's just like I truly started, like, you know, कि अब वो होता है कि आप उसमें होता है कि okay, like, you know, I'm a woman,
Yeah.
like, you know, and I have this is in my control and this is not in my
Yeah.
control,
Yeah.
so what I can do about it,
Yeah.
either I can, like, you know, जो सोसाइटी में जिस तरीके से लोगों ने किया एंड एक पर्सनालिटी ऊपर चढ़ा ली और शील्ड बना ली, एंड देन दैट्स हाउ आई कैन गो अबाउट इट, और आई कैन एक्सेप्ट इट and I can find a middle point where I can be authoritative, where I can be like, I want these things, but I still have the compassion for it.
Yeah.
Like, to be in personal or professional capacity.
Yeah.
Like, I also understood that we as like, women have a lot of emotions, and those emotions can sometimes be very damaging for personal relationships as well. So वही वाली चीज़ है कि like, to truly embrace like when to respond, when to react, when to be like, जो आप अपनी strengths पे खेलते हो, like, to play on your strengths as a woman.
Yeah.
That I started embracing, like, and I am going to be this person. I will be this soft person. I've seen the soft side, I've seen the hard side, and I don't want to be the hard.
You don't, yeah. I get that.
I don't want to be that person. I just want to be this soft person, but have with more authority. Like, to have like, I've earned this. I'm also as equal to you. Like, I'm in a position, I'm sitting in a table, I know certain things.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm here. I'm not here to be as a ceremonial figure.
Yeah, I think embracing yourself as a woman is an important thing, because see, the only time you would need to be sort of bitter or aggressive in your authority is when you kind of have, obviously when you're pushed to that limit.
When you're pushed to that limit.
I understand, I'm not gonna say that. It's not easy. But if you're insecure about the womanhood, so then you will act a certain way, because you have to, really, you're insecure about the fact that आप औरत हो, आपकी कोई बात नहीं सुन रहा तो आप उसमें. But when you embrace it, so then you can, find a way to be a leader as a woman and be heard and have authority. And so many women are now doing that. I think वो एक ज़माना था when you had to be aggressive, but now there's lots of women out there who are embracing their womanhood, and they're still being in authority, and they're still being leaders, and they're still carrying that compassion, and they're still doing a really, really good job at leading. Or reclaiming their power. Like I really have this problem with, the idea that you have to give up your femininity to be powerful.
Yes. I have so
like
much
you
problem with that
you
as
can
well.
be feminine and you can still be powerful. And I think women are the ones who will define that, who will redefine the definition of power, which power can be soft. Power doesn't have to be hard. It's the same as things we've learned now in parenting. Okay, you don't have to be a very strict parent or a loud parent or an aggressive parent to have your child's respect or have that power or authority over your children. It can be done compassionately as well. So in workplaces, I think, in fact, the more women start embracing their femininity, I think they will do better.
Yes.
वही बात है, better as leaders, without having to be aggressive.
Yeah, it's just about be secure.
Be secure in your womanhood.
Yeah.
But obviously, a lot of responsibility lies on the environment also, where that space.
Yeah,
I think as leaders in workplaces, women then need to create that space for other women as well.
Yeah, and I think starting mein to they had to be that, like, they had to go, like, fight or flight mode tha. They had to go, they had to show that we want to work. So they came off as like, they had to sort of like, एक आपने एक तरीके से पूरी एक बनाई अपनी personality to be like, go and be that aggressive person who would be heard, right? But अब यही जिस तरह आपने कहा है कि now we have that.
Now we have that. And
position.
I think those women, they did what needed to be done. And I would say like they did the hard work.
Yes, they did the hard work. हम तो I think हमारी generation तो वो है जिसमें आसपास लोग already इतना कुछ कर रहे थे. We just had to figure out what we want to do.
Yeah, like our mothers. My mother, she was working. Then she was a single woman. So I know that she had to put on certain masks. I've seen my mom be very aggressive. And I know why. Because वो एक ऐसा time था कि, and because she was single mother, she had to be this way. If she had to run the house and she had to do everything, because nobody would take you seriously then.
True.
But now things have changed a little bit.
Now things have changed, and those women who are in power now, they can change a lot for the coming women. Like, a lot of girls, like, because abhi bhi, like, jitna मैंने exposure किया है, a lot of the girls back out because of that लाइक यू नो कि वो बहुत कंपेटिटिव हो जाता है औरतों के साथ रहना ही उस एनवायरनमेंट लाइक यू नो इट्स नॉट द मैन इट्स द वुमेन जिनके साथ सर्वाइव करना मुश्किल हो जाता है बिकॉज दे हैड दिस लाइक यू नो उन्होंने एक वर्क पर्सनैलिटी बनाई हुई थी दे आर इन दैट पर्सनैलिटी विच आई अंडरस्टैंड व्हाई इट इज़ बट जब आप एक पोजिशन पे आ गए हो ना जहाँ पे आपने अब अगलों को मेंटोर करना है देन यू हैव टू रियली you know sit back and then talk to yourself that now it's my time कि वो हो जाए because again like you know बहुत ज़रूरी है हमारे लिए वो करना because then हम उस चीज़ से बाहर नहीं आ सकते
we need to make that change
like अभी टाइम है कि like you know with the newer generation coming in like you know वो तो जेंडर को इस तरीके से जेंडर रोल्स को देख ही नहीं रहे like you know for them they need to have right female role models like
you know this there's a lot of conversation happening around this I'm sure people have heard it, you know, when they're scrolling over Insta and they find someone on a podcast speaking about it. But there's a lot of conversation around this now. Okay, you know, we are not designed to function in the same way as men. So you know, men, they have testosterone, which is basically a hormone which is designed for them to have. It's stable. So throughout the day, uska ek hi level hota hai and they have the same amount of energy every single day. It's a 24-hour clock for them. But for women, it's a cycle which is in weeks. So you understand, कुछ hormones आपके you know कभी बड़े होते हैं कभी कम होते हैं. So मेरी पहले भी एक podcast पे वो हो चुका है कि you have seasons, right? So you have spring, summer, autumn, winter season in every month in your hormonal cycle. And those hormones will not allow you to behave a certain way when you're going through a certain season. So for example, when you are the most fertile, then you have the most amount of energy. So when you're in your summer season, right? So you're ovulating as well. You have charisma, you have power, you have strength, you can get things done. You know, you are more outwards. You know, that's a bit of a more sort of, you have energy basically. Okay. But when you are in like your autumn phase and winter phase, then you are
it's more gloomy.
It's gloomy in the sense that you know you don't have that much energy. You're have like low. Brain fog. You're feeling low. Your PMS is starting. You feel very low on energy, and that's the time when women need to be more inwards. So if they're you know so they're not they can't go around and do as many tasks, but they can do more creative work. So inwards, slow down. Create maybe, you know. So और अगर आप अपनी womanhood को embrace करो and you live your life by following your cycle, so I recently started doing that, the results will be phenomenal. Because you are going with the tide of your body. You are going with, you're listening to your body. Otherwise, what we're trying to do, if we're trying to compete with men or do things exactly the way that they do,
we can't do
we're falling flat on our faces.
We can't do it.
So we have to identify, listen, this is my strength that, you know, this is the season I'm in right now, so I should utilize it in this way. And when I'm in my, you know, winter autumn season, then I need to utilize it in this way. And that's what I started doing. So during my like autumn winter season, I would, you know, sort of retract and just focus more on like creativity or thoughts or my inner work and basically plan what I'm going to do when I hit the summer season. As soon as that would start, I would start executing
those ideas. See, like, you know, if you're embracing it, you're making plans accordingly, and then you're truly exploring your potential.
And not just that, you're also like when you're like, okay, I'm expected to perform a certain way today, but you're actually in your winter season, you will know why you are unable to perform today, and it will make you feel okay. Okay, like it's fine today. It's
not in my control.
It's not in my control. So just having that knowledge can be very helpful.
It will be like, you know, it will be. And I hope that, you know, with all of these studies coming forward, like, you know, and with this conversation going around, like, हम ये अपनी policies के अंदर भी डालना शुरू कर दें. Like, you know, like in the हैंडबुक जो बनती है आपकी, लाइक यू नो, एंड अब तो बहुत सारी फीमेल फाउंडर्स हैं, फीमेल लेड कंपनीज हैं, फीमेल लेड पूरे टीम्स हैं जहाँ पे इसके अराउंड एक पूरा साइकिल चल रहा हो.
बिकॉज आई थिंक द प्रॉब्लम इज दैट we don't need to put women in the same workplaces as men. So what I'm trying to say is same workplaces but not the same culture. So what I'm trying to say is that, for example, we need to identify that since men and women are different, that does not mean that because women don't have a 24-hour cycle, women should not work, right? It should be okay, don't design the working system in a patriarchal way. So you make space in a way that women can also thrive in that environment. It's the same as, like you build a workplace and you hire someone who cannot walk, right? Who's on a wheelchair, but you have no ramps. Right? Obviously, the comparison is, I'm talking about something else, but I'm just trying to draw an idea.
Like, obviously, though different genders cannot work in the,
Yes.
In a way, like, it's not gender. It's more like, your sex is so different. Like, your body is so different. You perform in a very different way. You cannot
so it should be inclusive.
Inclusive.
The culture should be inclusive of both.
And
genders.
That's what inclusivity is.
That's inclusivity. Yeah. So you can't be like, the reason that women are finding it hard in these environments is not because they're not good. It's because those environments were not designed for them.
Yeah.
Yes. They were just designed for men.
Yes.
So that has to change.
Yeah.
So that's what embracing womanhood is.
That's what embracing.
So interesting to see you in this space now, because I think when we do start embracing womanhood, we really start finding our strengths. Because if you're gonna ignore it, how can we do it?
It's just like you're going through something and you're constantly ignoring it. Then you're not even feeling your best. You're not doing your best. And it's not productive for anyone, like be it your relationship or your professional environment. Like,
and I really think this really hits you more when you become a mother. It is something that you really understand after becoming a mother, what it's like to be really, a woman.
I can only
who
imagine.
Works in a workplace. Because the society is just not designed for that.
I'm sure, it's so hard. It's just like, कि अभी ऐसा है, जिंदगी में ये सब होता है, society में ये सब हो रहा है, but when you are in it, you're like, हाँ, हो रहा है.
And I think you got some idea when you went through the PCOS thing, कि how your inner world can be just something else and your outer world can be something else.
Sometimes the inner world is driving you and you cannot do anything about it. Then you cannot be judged in compared to someone who is not going through it, who can never experience it, who cannot understand what you're going through. So that's been
So is there
hard.
anything else, Usra, that you want to talk about on the podcast? I think these were some of the things I had in mind.
I think we did talk about a lot, and हम उसमें बीच में
digress भी काफी.
But I really like it. I love that. I think I'm doing this after a year, and I was just telling you the other day in a private conversation that because of the role that I had to step in, because of the things that I was experiencing, like be it my work, be it my personal life, there were very few, like I can count on my fingers the instances that I could be able to speak my my what's going on in my mind or what I'm experiencing, because I was just not at the liberty. Like I didn't have the right people around me, or I was not able to say it out loud, as well. And I think now I'm at a point where I can now zoom out and see what I've been through, what was the journey like, and to be able to say it out loud and to be able to share it, it felt really I would say amazing, कि आपने खुद को खुद भी सुन लिया, people can also hear it. So I felt really I really enjoyed our conversation, and I think we've covered everything.
Okay, thank you so much, Usra.
Thank you so much
again for the time, for having this conversation with me. Thank you so much for tuning into this discussion, because Usra has been on here before, so generally when I repeat my guests as well, So this more of a discussion rather than an interview about that person. So it was kind of like that as well. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for tuning in every time. If you liked it, please leave your comments below. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you again next time. Allah Hafiz.